Hi YouTubers, it's Moxie today. I'm in the garage and smoking my big ass cigar for life. Oh yeah, baby, look at that big ass cigar, that Padron. Yeah, the cheap Padrones are pretty nice. They're not as as nice as the 64s, the 1926 series, the Family Reserves, that kind of stuff, the special big ass cigars, those $20-$30 sticks. But the point I'm trying to make is Padron is a nice brand, and even with the cheap ass cigars, hashtag cheap ass cigar, the big ass cigar. So those are pretty nice. These are like $5 a piece, and they smoke great. Big ass cigar for life. What I want to talk about right now is actually a cigar question, cigar storage. So cigar storage. I get a lot of questions. I'm sure a lot of people have gotten questions on this. And basically the question is, how long should I let cigars rest for when I get them out of the mail? So you order your cigars online on Pipes and Cigars, smoking pipes, whatever, tobacco shop online, or you buy them in a poor quality tobacconist where they're not as, well alchemated. How long should you let the cigar rest before actually smoking it? So you have your coolador, your humidor, your tapador, your winador, whatever, your big ass humidor, hashtag big ass humidor, like the big ass cigar. So basically, how long should you let the cigar rest? In my experience, it varies a lot. Now, some people are so overly zealous about this. Some people will say, same thing, the corncob pipe's burning out. Some people will say, you need to let cigars rest when you get them out of the mail for at least 2 to 3 weeks. In my experience, absolutely not. You don't need 2 to 3 weeks. Unless you're buying from like a really crappy tobacconist, like you have a really crappy B&M, brick and mortar for those who don't know, B&M or tobacconist, unless it's really crappy, it's like basically dried out, you don't need to let cigars rest for a month. Now, some people are going to totally troll me, flame me, and say, smoking S677, you're an effing liar. So, the point is, in my experience, you don't need to let cigars rest for, a month. So, some people will disagree, but in my experience, how long do cigars need to rest in the humidor, winador, coolador, tapador, whatever you're using, before you smoke them? I would say around a week. Probably a week to a few days. So, depends. Depends where you live, the climate you smoke in. Obviously, if you live up north and you're ordering from up north, you're here in Massachusetts, and you order from, Pennsylvania, anywhere up north, and it's cold outside in both places, that's fine. You might only need 2 or 3 days because, honestly, the temperature and climate is so similar in Massachusetts and Pennsylvania, sorry. You might only need 1 to 3 days. On the other hand, this is where a lot of people talk about if you're down in Florida where it's muggy, hot, very humid all the time, and luckily it's tobacco paradise, but it's so hot and humid, and you buy a cigar from say Massachusetts, and it's 30 degrees in Massachusetts, and it's 90 degrees in Florida, that's a huge, huge humidification difference. So obviously if you're buying from a very different humidification climate, then obviously, absolutely, you need probably a week to 2 weeks. Because that's a huge humidification difference. Like I noticed with the big ass cigars, the Padrones, the Flor de Olivias, the big ass cigars, if I smoke them outdoors, where it's probably, 80, 90% humidity, 90 degrees outside, where it's hot, sticky, and sweaty, compared to the winador, which is my winador, which I'm using, which is 65 degrees and probably 71% humidity, cigar gets all mushy, it gets all crinkly, crackly. I was smoking a Baccarat today, and it got all crinkly and crackly. So, yeah. So it really depends. In my experience, in general, a few days. My tobacconist said the same. Around a few days to let them acclimate. But really, it depends on where you're buying, how similar the humidification climates are. Obviously, if you're buying in a very similar humidification climate, you might only need 2 or 3 days. On the other hand, if you're buying from a totally different climate, a totally different part of the world, you might need 2 or 3 weeks. So, anyway, but in my experience, you don't need a month. It's like, some people are so overly zealous and will say, oh, you need to let cigars rest for at least 2 weeks, if not a month, if not 2 months. BS. So, obviously, if you're a devout reviewer if you're somebody who's a crazy reviewer on YouTube who's getting like 50,000 views on a video, yes, I can understand because you want the cigar to taste perfectly. But aside from that, if you're just a daily smoker or somebody smoking cigars a couple times a week, and you just want the cigar to taste nice, you're not doing a review on it, a couple days is the best. So anyway, big gas cigar for life. Bye. Big gas cigar.